All right, welcome back to the Super Centex Podcast with Michael and Chad. I'm Bryce. It's the Snowmageddon Part 2 edition of the podcast.
I missed that. Well, yeah, you mean from Snowmageddon 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling this Snowmageddon Light. And not just because I've been drinking light beer.
Call it Ice Baby.
Ah, there you go. There you go.
I like it.
Also, this is Sweatpants Day 4.
Yep.
Hoodies and sweatpants. Yeah. Obviously, the weather. We'll get to the weather. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to start with another crazy scoring performance to talk about. So last Thursday night, Live Oak's Duncan Ogden exploded for 66 points in a game against San Marcos Academy, hit 14 three-pointers. Michael was texting Chad and I when he got the news, and we were doing all the proper eyes wide emojis, exclamation points and all that. Michael, you wrote about this performance with a lot of detail and uncovered a lot of good nuggets. But to both you guys, what impresses you the most about Mr. Duncan's outburst?
To me, I think it's the fact that, that game was well in hand. Like Live Oak was well ahead after the first half. Duncan had 24 at the half. So I think what impresses me most is that, with a running clock, he was able to put up
to me, that was the detail that stood out.
That's crazy.
A running clock in a game that's only 32 minutes long to begin with.
Well, and just to clarify, I mean, for people who don't know, because the clock runs when the ball's in. That means during foul shots, during sideline out of bounds, any whistle that would normally stop a clock in a game, they left it running during that second half because the game was already well in hand. So for him to still be able to, put up what is that, 42 points in the second half? Right? I can't do math, quick math. That's crazy to me.
It reminds me of one time when I was in high school, I hit 5 3-pointers in a church league game. And my friend Michael Du Bois, he said of Du Bois Furniture, by the way, he said, I don't think anybody was guarding you. Who was guarding you, right? I mean, no disrespect to their opponent, but who's guarding him?
Well, that's the thing, though. They said there were multiple guys on him, right?
Yeah, so, I wasn't there to see it, but just from talking to these guys and talking to Coach Kyle Combs, he said at one point in the second half when Duncan was really, because he had 24 at half, which he's done that before this year. But when he stayed in the game and he was still hitting crazy shots, at one point, Coach Combs heard one of their assistants say, "All of you are guarding him. All of you guard him. Don't leave him." And he was still through double teams, triple teams, he was still just hitting crazy tough shots, apparently.
And I liked the nugget you had in there about after the game, Kyle Combs was kind of almost apologetic to the other coach because it really wasn't his plan to leave Duncan in the game, but the players, his teammates, really wanted that for him. But I thought that coach was good. She said, "What, shoot or shoot?"
Yeah, she was like, "Look, man, shooters got to shoot." She was basically that was an unbelievable performance, and you can't be mad when a kid's just that hot and making shots. She's there's no they didn't take any disrespect by them, basically kind of running the score up in a way.
Both of you guys, know more about the evolution of the NBA game, sort of the statistical wonks and people like that look at different things. To me, offensive efficiency has come down to I don't know, I feel like coaches are better than ever able to identify what actions are working. And if the actions to get a certain player a basket are working and they can't stop it, then you just keep going to that over and over and over and over and over. And I think that's why we're seeing, the Kel Collins game from the other night, and then this Duncan Ogden performance is this is working. Let's keep going to it. Although the difference is in the Kel Collins game, they had to have every last
Yeah,
basket of his to win the
right.
game.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Chad, you're like giving a dog a bone here when you start asking about like basketball evolution and stuff. You're speaking to my hoops nerd sensibilities, but
which I tried to antagonize on Twitter earlier. We can get into that if you want.
Anyway, so I'll say this. First of all, anything that happens in basketball that works, as tends to have a trickle down effect. And one thing we've seen in the NBA the last couple seasons, it really worked for the Indiana Pacers on their way to the NBA Finals last year, is a quicker pace of play. The Pacers played with pace. And we're seeing that, I think, all over basketball, where, look, if you cross half court and you've got a shot, shoot it. And Chad and I
Right.
can remember many, many, many basketball games where it was like, no, we're going to work the ball around. We're going to, screen, double screen, take a shot late in the shot clock.
The
And
Norman Dale approach.
a little bit, like, obviously that was different because that was pre-shot clock. But yeah, I mean, certainly Dean Smith was known for that. It was always joked that he was the only guy who could hold Michael Jordan under 20 points, because back then it was just a lot more of a deliberate kind of game. And I think across all levels of basketball, you're seeing quicker pace.
Well, here's what you have to do: you have to have equal athleticism to the other team to be able to do that. Because if the other team has better players than you have, your best bet is to slow the game down as much as you can, and slow the game down without making mistakes, and you can slim the margins between your athleticism and their athleticism, right?
Sure.
Well, clearly, Duncan Ogden and Live Oak, they're going to be fun to watch the rest of the year. Whether he goes for 66 again or not, probably won't. But real quickly, Michael, you did uncover some historical nuggets on that. Looks to be, I mean, we already thought the 58 by Kel Collins was the best in Central Texas. Obviously, this surpasses that. But not a state record.
Yeah, no, definitely not a state record. In fact, I actually, so I don't know if y'all know the guy named Mark McKee. Have y'all heard that name? He's like a book author who's written about a bunch of Texas high school basketball stuff from over the last several decades, and he hasn't actually written about stuff in about 10 years, but I was able to reach out to him and just say, hey, like, what are some high scoring games that rank among the top of the state? And he actually helped me uncover some of these. There was a guy who scored 101 points in 2001.
That one jumped out to me in your story.
Yeah. And then the public school record is still that 81 point game from the Houston area. I forgot the guy's name, but that was the one that's still, state public school record. The 101 was a private school. And then in terms of Central Texas, though, Kel Collins had set the most points ever scored, I believe, in Central Texas. I think the previous record was Blaine Listach from Rappaport, who had 51 in 2015. And then you could say, okay, now Duncan Ogden's 66 is the record, but you could also split that. You could say, okay, Duncan has the private school and overall, while Kel has the public school record. So
I tell you, it's gonna be hard to beat those records.
Yep.
If anybody could do it, I'd leave it up to the guys who set the records themselves.
Hey, Michael, I just opened up your story, and I did not expect Ogden to look like Jimmy from Yellowstone.
That's the funny thing. Like, I mean, it's funny because I've seen Duncan play like 3 or 4 times this year, and it cracks me up to hear some of the like opposing fans think like, who is this kid? And I just have to turn and say like, dude, he's averaging close to 30. Like, this is what he does.
Guard the redhead! Guard the redhead!
Fun stuff. Well, we referenced it earlier, but obviously, a big winter storm swept across the state over the weekend, and it has wreaked havoc on everyone's schedules, including our own. A lot
Which,
of
by the way, you had to get to the Baylor game on Saturday night.
Oh,
I
I
that's
guess
right.
right as the sleet was hitting when you were
I
coming home, right?
ended up staying home. I watched it on
Ah,
TV. Yeah, I
Good
got
call.
out in the driveway and started chipping away at the ice on my truck. And after a while, I said, "Screw this."
I don't
And
blame you.
yeah, so there you go. That's how the sausage was made on that. But um, so a lot of basketball teams have delayed Tuesday games to Wednesday, um, which makes sense. But Michael, what are you hearing in terms of local soccer?
Hmm.
And how those teams are kind of handling this weather. Obviously, it's tougher with an outdoor sport.
Much tougher. A lot of these coaches that I just shared texts with were like, I haven't seen my kid since Thursday. I mean, because they like a lot of these schools haven't, they obviously haven't been in school to even
Mhm.
just see them like during an like athletic period, and it's not like you can just drive on icy roads and meet indoors and get some workouts in some way to stay conditioned. Like everyone's kind of just hanging around at home. A lot of teams are not going to play any matches until tomorrow as well, so that's I mean. Like I talked to Rodrigo Barrientos at Midway. He was just kind of like, "Yeah, we're just waiting. We're trying to keep our kids safe and wait until the roads are clear." And uh, Juan Lopez at Waco High was just kind of like, "Same thing. We're waiting and seeing, just trying to." But it's hard because I mean, a lot of these teams are now in district play or right on the cusp of it, and some of them are in a groove. Like I think La-Vega's 8-1, 9-1, and on the boys' side, and they're like we want to keep playing, and not kind of have that hiccup in our schedule. But this is what happens sometimes, and it's just kind of part of the deal.
you know, I really feel for soccer parents around here, and like in Europe, like the soccer season pretty much lasts, at least the professional soccer season, it lasts from, I guess, friendlies that they play in August, and then the regular season
Mhm.
maybe in like September, all the way until May. And so it's like around the calendar, and you're going to play some cold weather games, but their stadiums are designed for that too. They're almost like
Mhm.
little Texas stadiums, with the hole in the roof. But here we kind of give soccer the shaft. I mean, choices have to be made, right? But soccer is a sport that is outdoor, that
Right.
starts in December and goes to March, right?
Yes, absolutely. So,
Exactly.
several years back, I wrote a column about soccer parents in Texas, and I said, like Kevin Durant said about his mama, "You the real MVP,"
Mm.
Facts.
because I even noted in the column, I was like, at least the players get to run around,
Mhm.
The
Right.
parents are
Albeit
just
in shorts.
sitting there like, yes, that's true. That's a good point. But uh yeah, it's the worst weather months of the year, and they play an outdoor sport. So God bless all those parents that go to those soccer matches. It's probably why a lot of those matches until later in the season are not widely attended by other
Right.
people besides the
Well,
parents.
and the stadium thing, that's another point. They have to go out there and sit on metal bleachers with
Right.
no
Yes.
overhang.
Right.
Yes.
Whew.
God bless those parents. All right. So once the roads clear up, we should have some entertaining basketball matchups coming up this week, both on the girls' side and the boys' side. What are some games that kind of have your eye?
Which ones are you looking at, Chad?
Well, Michael, we've discussed this at length, obviously sort of in planning mode. And I think in some ways we wouldn't mind seeing both of the university games this week.
Yeah, the
They
boys'
play
games. Yeah.
Chaparral on Wednesday night now, and then Belton on Friday, both
Man.
at the U, right? Both
Yep,
at
both at the
University High
U.
School.
Big time boys basketball games.
I think Michael Irvin will be there, right? Did y'all see the SNL weekend update? Michael
Yes,
Yeah,
Irvin,
yes,
Fred
that
that
was
was
pretty
really
Sanford?
good.
good.
It's pretty
That
That
was
was
good.
pretty
good.
good.
Um, No, so those two games are great. The Midway girls have a really important one, it looks like, on Wednesday
Hmm.
night against Bryan. Lorena and Robinson play, a doubleheader as per usual, with uh, I think the girls' game having more playoff implications than the boys' game,
I
maybe.
would agree. I
Although
would agree.
that boys' district is a jumble behind Gatesville and la-vega.
Who also
La-vega
play
number one,
tomorrow, by the
Gatesville
way.
number two, and
That's
then
going to be. They
yeah.
also play tomorrow. That's going to be an interesting boys game out in Gatesville.
That was going to be a tougher one to drive to. Rod didn't
Right.
want to. What Rod didn't want to drive 30 minutes outside of town. So I'm
Uh,
pretty sure he's not going to want to drive 45. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
how about you, Michael? I left one dangling out there for you.
Well, there's several good ones that I think that are on this docket. I mean, I think and all of these games that we've mentioned so far have been moved to Wednesday, which we already talked about. I think the only Tuesday game, which today is Tuesday as we're potting, is Live Oak. Both Live Oak teams are hosting a district game, so that should still happen. Which that actually could be two interesting games too. But in terms of the Wednesday games, there's several good ones. I think the one I'm most interested in is this Chilton hosting Mart doubleheader. I mean, if you really look, it's still kind of too early to tell, but that should determine the top seed in the 2A Division 2 bracket coming out of that district, if that makes sense, because obviously they split those teams up, and
Mhm.
Marlin's the heavy favorite to win the district championship, but they'll go up to 2A Division 1, and so I think this game will at least put both boys or girls teams, Mart or Chilton, in that driver's seat to be that top seed in the lower bracket. So. That one's interesting. Another game we just briefly texted about was Waco High girls hosting Ellison. That could determine a playoff spot. I mean, I think there's lots of good ones, and then there's one further out east that I think is good too. If you want to talk about that one, Bryce or Chad, Mahia.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Hey,
See,
and
this is the
Palestine,
one.
Westwood.
yeah,
Yeah,
Westwood
yeah, yeah. This is the
state
one
ranked
where I
matchup,
think,
boys
depending
game.
on because Kel Collins mentioned to us that he might be looking at a prep year.
Hmm.
I don't want to give too much of his story away.
Right.
But he might be looking at a prep year, which could be really beneficial for him in trying to play big time college basketball.
Hmm.
And
Basically saying he would reclassify as a senior, but wouldn't play UIL. I mean, he wouldn't be able to play another UIL boys basketball year at Mahia, so he would thus go up to DFW and play for a prep school
right, right.
for a
Uh,
year.
and then you got him versus the Bryant brothers, which Kavion Bryant has committed to Texas Tech as a quarterback. I think he's the number 2 quarterback in the 2027 class.
Big
But
time quarterback
man,
prospect.
he is probably a dang good basketball
Oh,
player
oh
too.
well. So in my research for high
Uh-huh.
scoring games in the state,
Mhm.
Kavion Bryant 50 points, Kavion Bryant 52 points. I mean, he has
Mhm.
had, and some of these games, by the way, are like third or fourth round playoff games. Like he's putting up huge numbers for that team, and he's only a junior. This was him doing that as a freshman and sophomore sometimes.
It makes you wonder if Graham McCaslin might walk across campus to Joey McGuire's office and say, "Brother, this guy can help us."
He's a
Yeah,
player, man.
I,
And as you mentioned, his younger brother. I mean, now that he's a freshman on that team,
Mhm.
like I've talked to some folks out in Mahia who saw them the first go around. There are a
Mhm.
lot of folks that are like that team could win state. Like they're
Mhm.
good.
And so my overall point was that, like, might we be looking at two guys in 2029 that are major impact college basketball players, or three guys in around that same time that are big time
Hmm.
well,
impact college basketball players?
certainly. I mean, I think we're all high on Kellen Collins.
Right.
We've seen the kid play for multiple years now, and he's special. Um, that said, he's what, 5'9",
He's about 5'11". No, I'd say he's about 5'11", 6 foot.
5'11"?
He's
Yeah,
around
he's
that.
on right
Yeah.
on that 6 foot.
Hmm.
And honestly, to get a chance at the big time D1 level, you better be 6'1" or bigger. Um,
Right.
I think, though, we've seen guys like Elijah Stevens from China Spring, who was a two-time Super Centex Player of the Year. he went to American University up in DC, playing really well up there. Um, Emoja Gibson was a guy
Oh
that was
yeah.
kind of overlooked, a little bit.
About the same size as Kel. I mean, he's not
Right.
much taller.
And so I think it's about finding that right spot for you. Maybe maybe you can transfer to a bigger school, or maybe you just find a home at that smaller school. But
And two
Mhm.
things to think about. Number one, I believe Kel's 17 still.
Yes.
And then number two, both of y'all will be able to give your thoughts on this, but who is the best player on Baylor's national championship team?
Jared Butler,
Okay, who is the second best player?
Davion
Davion
Mitchell,
Mitchell,
Right. How tall is Davion Mitchell?
he's probably
6 foot,
6'1".
6'1".
Yep.
Yeah.
He's listed on his Miami Heat ESPN page as 6 foot 210. And I was amazed when I looked that up because I was trying to compare him to some other players in my head, and I couldn't believe he was only 6 foot. He seemed like he
Yeah,
played
now
six
Davion
But he
is
played bigger than he was.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I think Kellen is a little more slight than that.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Could he put on some bulk? Probably.
Hmm.
Uh, but
He
you want
doesn't have a big, wide shoulders,
right.
but yeah.
But he's not the smallest guy either. I mean,
Mhm.
and he plays with a lot of force too. So
Well, and he plays with that spark.
right.
And so that's I mean, it's hard to find. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Love to see it. And he's such a nice kid too that I'd love to see him
he
do great
is.
things.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. So before we go, I'm not encouraging gambling here on the Super Centex podcast, especially
Mhm.
not on high school sports. But if you had to put your paycheck or your freelance paycheck down on one of our local teams to reach state, who are you banking on?
Now I really wish I'd read these questions before we started this a while.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
think about it while Michael answers.
All right, all right.
Well, there's a few. I mean, there is when it, when I say low-hanging fruit, it's not a guarantee that any of these teams get there.
Sure, it's not.
But the one I'll go
That's
with
why it's
is,
gambling.
I mean, hey, I'm not a very risky guy, especially I mean, I don't gamble. I'm not a gambler, but
Right.
if I were to be, I would be very conservative, and I will pick the Fairfield girls just
Yeah.
because I think they
That
have
that
so
felt
much.
like the right answer.
I mean, they have so much coming back. Now, I will say there's a few other options here that I could have gone with that are legit too. I'll see what you guys go with.
Chad.
Uh, well, I feel like the la-vega Pirates are starting to have that ain't nobody going to beat this team feel about them. And that's even
How about
with
the girls?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
girls. Yeah.
La-vega girls because they've had some scrappy moments against China Spring and Lorena in the games we've seen lately, but uh, I love the Lorena team, and I thought they were playing really well,
They
and
did.
I respected what they were trying to do, and they were doing it really well in the first half of basketball that I saw, but the image that came to my mind when I was watching them, and I told Michael this, is it was like they were trying to water ski while doing algebra.
Yeah.
Because it's like every now and then they'd get it right. It'd be like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, did you see that? And it was like brilliant, but it just so many times it was just like, wow, and as
And
you
then
would if
and then
you're,
like yeah.
yeah.
And then like oftentimes in that game it was like, one step forward, two steps back. That like they just kind of had that feel.
And I think that Ree Kinsey is a comparable offensive player to what KP was for la-vega
Wow.
2 years ago. So we'll see how that plays out. I think they're pretty different personalities, but when Rhea is on the floor for them, and Kelly, she's been solid, and there's several
Samaria.
of them you could mention, but
Hmm.
but I think that's where my money would go.
It's a solid
Well,
team.
and it's not like Reed Kinsey hasn't done it before. I mean, she's been a
Hmm.
good player in Central Texas for 4 years now. Uh,
Hmm.
she was
Hmm.
good as a freshman at Midway. Obviously, has
Hmm.
played tough 6A competition a lot
Hmm.
in her career. She was easily the best JV player in the state last year,
Right. Yeah.
as she sat out a season. But um, yeah, she's special, and you need a player like that that can go get you a bucket in a time where you need a bucket.
She can do
And
that.
that's why I think for me, um, I'm going with Michael's answer, and the Fairfield
Okay.
girls have that kind of player in Blake Brackens.
Yeah.
That's the factor that kind of
Mm.
sways me to them because she's just so clutch. She's been there so many times. Uh,
Right.
it's a low hanging fruit answer, but like Michael said, if you're really gambling and you want like a sure bet, you want to go with the surest bet out there. I also do think though, uh, man, it certainly looks like these Live Oak teams are going to be playing this week.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, well, the girls
Mhm.
won it last year. That's another, and they've just been killing everyone. And then the boys, who you were there for that game, Bryce lost last year. I mean, they beat the crap out of the team that they lost to earlier this
Mhm.
year. And yes, will Yavna Academy look different in February as opposed to December? Probably, but still, I mean, Live Oak's playing some of the best ball we've seen I mean, across the entire region.
Yeah, could
So,
have a Live Oak sweep there. That would be fun.
hmm
And the nice thing about that for Live Oak is those games are here in Waco.
hmm
Last
You
Can I
year,
know,
mention? Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, that's all right. Keep going on live. I was going to take a
I
right
was just gonna
Well,
say I think they were at Robinson last year is where they
yes,
played. Yeah.
correct. But I was gonna actually, I mean, there's still I think two other teams I could mention as like if you wanted to take a swing, it wouldn't be a bad option. But I
Go
don't know
for it
what you
because
were
I'm
gonna
going to
say.
backtrack in a second. A
Okay,
little bit.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say, I mean, they're moving up to 6A in the future, but in the moment of being 5A, lake-belton girls, who I found out did get their leading scorer back, Anaya Taylor, their guard,
Mhm.
and they're cruising through that district, and that's going to be, I mean, they're ranked, I think, number 4 in the state still. And for all of 5A, that's gonna be a tough team for anyone to
Yeah, and
beat.
of course there'll be two state champions in 5A,
Mhm.
so that gives them a little bit
Yeah,
more
and they'll be in
chance.
the bigger bracket. They'll be 5A Division One, no matter what. And then the other one I was going to mention, how about our boys UIL defending state champ Rappaport, still ranked really high, maybe playing their best ball all year. Got a big win over Bosqueville recently, who's another legit player in 2A. So I still think outside of all of our answers that were really good, I still think there's plenty of teams that could definitely go and win one.
yeah, absolutely. And I think probably with Rappaport, you kind of get that belief factor in a small school, and people want to be part of it. So now I was going to backtrack on the Fairfield girls a little bit. We talk a lot about Blake, and deservingly so. She's a fine athlete and going to be probably the girl to beat for our girls athlete of the year, which her sister was a couple of years ago.
Right.
The other player on that team that's been there for 4 years and been a key contributor and is a really, really good player now is Kaylee Williams.
Agreed.
And I think those two kind of give them that, we've been down 1,000 roads type of experience, confidence. And then on touching on la-vega again, I was impressed the other night as I was shooting by Kimura Harbert in the post.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
tough.
you know, strong, tall. Um,
Comes off the bench though, and is a nice little spark. Yeah.
yeah, and is an inside presence that if they need it, she's maybe going to be able to provide it. So.
Now I will say the one like main post for them who I think does so much for that team that goes unnoticed is Talia Parker Minute. Like
Mhm,
she will finish a game with like 6 or 7 rebounds. All of them are on the offensive glass. Like
yeah,
she's putting in work down there, man.
yeah, and she's 5'6". She's
Yeah.
5 inches
But
shorter than
tough,
Kimura,
super
but
tough,
yeah,
great defender, and she kind of flies around as that like safety in their full court press, and man, she's a firecracker back there.
if they were a football team, Kimura would be the rush in, and
Yeah,
Parker Minute would be the nose tackle.
nice,
Nice, nice. Gonna be hard to pick Super Centex as it always is,
super tough.
because y'all just rattled off 8 girls there that all have a pretty good case, and there's more out there. Uh,
hmm
but but that's part of it. That's what we do. We make
It's a
tough
labor of love,
Hey,
decisions.
Bryce.
You show me a podcast out there that's talking more high school girls basketball.
Can't
Amen.
do it. Can't do
Amen.
it.
Well, and to that point about Super Centex, of course, we probably in the last couple weeks we released the Super Centex football teams, and Michael mentioned earlier that a good game to watch, and we didn't really talk about this kid at the time, uh, is Martin Chilton.
Yeah.
But you talk about a guy that might be able to go for 50 in a game. Marnico Thomas at
He's gone
Chilton.
for 30. He's gone for 30 like 4 times already. He may be close to 40 in some of these games. I mean, he's a guy who could easily get you 50.
Yeah. So tomorrow night, it might be the Marnico show. We'll see. That'll be fun. But Mart's not bad, right?
No, Mart's not bad.
They
And
beat him the first time around, although I don't know that
well,
Marnico
so
was playing.
that
Yeah.
was the last game Nico did not play in, and Mart won by 2. So that,
Mhm.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could look at that however you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marnico probably will make a difference. We'll
Yeah.
see how the game comes out.
Mhm.
All right, good stuff. Yeah, we'll be at some games Wednesday, at some games Friday, and then
May have to put on a pair of blue jeans tomorrow night.
yeah, I'm
Right.
actually wearing jeans. I'm not doing the sweat. Then come next week, incidentally,
Oh yeah.
maybe we'll save our podcast until after all this happens. But
Mhm.
Talk about
Tuesday,
what districts we're looking forward to.
Tuesday
Yep.
is realignment day, and
Yep.
then Wednesday, National Signing Day for football.
Busy time.
Yeah, there'll be some other sports signing too,
Mhm.
but yeah, that'll be fun. A lot of kids will get to put their names on the dotted line. So good stuff. We'll talk more about it next week. Thank y'all.